Welcome to the Empowerment Zone with Ramona Houston, where we zone in on Black and Brown relations and our journey to empowering our communities.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, Dr. Houston.
Hey, it's June 17th, 2020, and I am so happy to have Mr. Kent Jones of Memphis, Tennessee here. He is a Morehouse man, I guess you can see, that's obvious, and one of my wonderful friends. We've stayed close to each other since we went to undergrad school together. And so it's a pleasure to have him. He is a second generation owner and operator of McDonald franchises. And he's going to speak to us today about just business ownership and franchising and advice that he would have for business owners who want to become successful entrepreneurs and owners of businesses. So welcome, Kent. I'm so excited to have you because I know you have so much advice to give our audience. You know, one of our purposes on this show is the economic empowerment of Black and Brown communities. So you can really push this conversation forward by giving us that wealth of advice that you have as a Morehouse man. Of course, it's not as much as we Clark folk, but we will take the Morehouse advice as well. So welcome.
Well, thank you. Well, like you said, we've known each other for many years, so I don't have a problem talking on a number of subjects because I do believe I'm an expert in many things. But today you did ask me to speak on Black ownership and Black businesses, and just in my day-to-day interactions, I've had a lot of people come to me, friends, ex-employees, as people that I've crossed paths with that have had great ideas and wanted to know how can I make my great idea a business. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today is how to go from having an idea to having a sustainable business. And the first part is really understanding your product, and is your product something that you can make money on? One of the things that we have to understand is, right or wrong, moral and moral, we're in business to make money. It's not a bad thing to say. And once we own that, then you can start to, look at things in a much more pragmatic way. So once you come to the realization that I am doing this to make money, that this is not going to be my hustle, this is what I want to do. I want to be an entrepreneur, and I believe in this product or this service. You need to develop your business plan. One of the things that I have found has been the biggest roadblock is that the business plans don't have long vision. Their business plans are usually, how do I get my business started, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's not, how do I get my business started? How do I sustain my business? And how do I get my business to grow to my ultimate vision 5 years, 10 years down the line? So a lot of times when we start our thing, we only get to this level and it doesn't get to be or fulfill its full potential. So starting off at the beginning, you create your business plan, talk to other entrepreneurs. One thing I know is that entrepreneurs love to tell you how great they are. They love to tell you their story. They all have a wealth of knowledge. They all have different paths, and it's a great way to learn. And people want to tell you how successful they are. I promise you they do. They won't tell you, but they're so vain. They want to give you this information. But whether you need to get a resale license, a tax ID number, all those things that you need to start your business, which are very, very inexpensive in most cases, it's just having the knowledge that you need those things. Whether it's a health department permit, and if you've never done this before, you don't always know. So please ask people. Don't be afraid to ask people and get information from as many different places as you can. Also, when you are writing out your business plan, you need to write out every possible expense that you can think of. And I guarantee you, once you write out every single thing, that's probably only half. You know, we'll say, and I'm just going to use t-shirts for instance. Say you decide you want to do a t-shirt company. You find out how much the t-shirts are. You find out how much the shipping is, how much it is to put the t-shirts on the thing, and you come up with a price of cost of production. And they say it'll cost me $6 to make this t-shirt. I'm gonna sell it for $20. I'm gonna have $14 profit per shirt, and that is not how it works. There is a bunch of other little things that are gonna hit along the way that you are not accounting for. So you need to, and this line is going to sometimes change as you get into your business, but you have to make sure that you are keeping an eye on your profits the whole time. A lot of times when I see things in business reports and stuff, they're always talking about top line sales. They have $1 million in sales, but if you're not making but $100 at the end of the day because insurance eats it up, your taxes eat it up, your energy bill, like all these things are eating it up. Your labor is 30%. Your as you mentioned, I dealt with McDonald's for many, many years, second generation. And in between time, I also owned some Baskin-Robbins. And looking at profit margins, people always see McDonald's and they go golden arches and they think, oh, you're so rich. I can tell you firsthand, I know operators who are losing money every day. I've been blessed that my father had been in this for such a long time and I grew up doing it. So I had a really good understanding going into the business. But McDonald's takes their money first of the month. The bank takes their money first of the month. Like you have to make your payrolls or people are not coming to work. Based on your rent and services, your bottom line P&L before your loans might only be 18 to 20%. And then you still have to pay yourself out of that. You still have to pay the bank out of that. So a lot of times, what looks like, it's to get rich, we're going to make all this money because we're looking at top line and not bottom line. The other two things that I really want to talk about are marketing and sustaining capital. Those two things are, if you have a good product to begin with, if you have a bad product or service or you're not reliable, you're not going to be successful. But if you have the best product in the world, but you don't market it properly and nobody knows that you have this best product, then it doesn't matter that you have the best product. A few things is sometimes we're afraid to give our product away for free or for a discounted price to get it out into the consumer market. And it is a two-sided coin because on one side you are kind of devaluing your product every time you sell it for less than it is. But until you build a brand, until you build a name, until people know that it's a dependable quality product, sometimes you have to do those things. Sometimes you have to have a buy one, get one free. McDonald's believes in coupon. God, I wish we did coupon, but, especially when they have new products. And the reason is they want as many people to try the product as they can so that when it comes off sale, they'll know that this is a good product, that they like this product, and they'll continue to purchase it at its full price. So whether it's social media, whether it's your ground team, and a lot of times as an entrepreneur, it's you. You got to create flyers and go to every beauty supply, barbershop, tax place and ask, hey, can I put this up in your thing? Can you give this out to your customers? Like at the beginning, you're selling yourself. And a lot of times, one of the main differences in having a job and being an entrepreneur is that if you have a job, you work from 9 to 5. Sometimes you might take some work home. When you're an entrepreneur, from the time that you get up to the time that you go to bed, you are working on thinking about, because you are the bottom line. If you don't do it, there's nobody you can pick up and say, I'm not coming into work today. You're the person that they call. When they say they can't come into work today, you have to get out of bed and go to work that day. If I have a manager that says that they're sick and they're not going to be able to close, I'm the one that has to get up out of my bed, put my shoes on, and go to that store to close McDonald's. So it is a whole different mentality. It is much more, to me, personally rewarding. But you do have to understand that going in, the business is only going to be as successful as you are willing to work at it. Now, the other thing that I mentioned earlier is sustaining capital. Many, many small businesses, black, white, and different, even when they're good businesses and have good ideas and good products, end up failing because you don't have sustaining capital. What does that mean? It means you've gotten whatever money together to get your business started. You've gotten enough money to rent out a place, to do your build out, to get your products in the store, all of that. But you are not going to open the doors and make money that first day. You are not going to open your doors and make money that first month. It's going to be a growth curve for your business. And until you get to the point where you're making more money than you're spending, you're losing money every day. So you have to make sure that you have enough starting capital to get through that curve. Whether it's a line of credit, which is what I would personally suggest, so that you're only paying interest on the money that you're using. But if you're thinking about doing something, think long term, take your time, get your credit right. Because you don't want to be out here using credit cards and high interest stuff. Get your credit right. Use other people's money and borrow and have access to way more money than you need. Because you will be in a much better position having to pay back more money or borrowing money that you didn't use and giving it back than not having enough money and then trying to go back to the bank and explain to them, yeah, I thought I was going to be here and I'm not. I need to borrow more money. Yeah, I know you gave me money, but that wasn't enough money because my plans didn't work out. They're going to be so much less likely. Even with good credit, once you come back to them, now they're looking at you like, why would I keep giving you money and you're telling me your business isn't successful? So whether it's your line of credit, whether you're borrowing money, whatever you're doing, always, always, always get way more than you get, the most that you can get. And if you don't use it, just give it back. But, and use other people's money whenever possible. I don't know if you had any specific questions. I know I've been rambling for I don't know, 10 minutes or so. But I'm trying to stay on topic. So go ahead. What's your questions?
No, those were, I'm glad you were very detailed and very specific about what entrepreneurs and business owners need to consider in terms of getting their product and service to market in order to be successful business owners. So those were great steps. Can you expand upon some of the pitfalls that you see first-time business owners coming against once they get their businesses started, and what advice you would have for them?
Okay. One of the big things, and I've seen this from McDonald owner operators to small mom and pops, is that once we have a little bit of success, we want to go from A all the way to JK, elemental P, instead of going A, B, C, D. Going from 1 unit to 2 units is much harder than going from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is when you go to have, you're running your restaurant or store or whatever it is, now you have 2 of them, you can't be in both places. So you have to learn how to manage your time, develop people that will have the same standards as you and be able to manage, both places. And eventually you have to train people and empower them to make the decisions similar to what you would make, so you can step out and be more of an administrator instead of being the cook in a restaurant, instead of being the proprietor of the store or whatever it is. And the other thing is that we always want to go from being this one small location to huge, and we don't have a plan. That's what I was saying at the beginning about your business plan. You need to have all those steps planned out, because we create a business plan at the beginning, but a lot of times we don't revisit it when we're expanding and growing. We just have our plan, we get things started and kind of set it off to the side, and things grow at whatever rate they grow, expand, and we're no longer leading the business. We're letting the market pull us. We're letting opportunity pull us instead of sticking to our plan. And one of the things that I've seen so many times is I have some success, so now the bank will give me some money. So now I'm going to open 5 stores. Now the bank is giving me this money. I got to pay this bank on the 1st every day because they're pulling it out my account. And then you don't just have twice the expenses. It's exponential a lot of times. Your insurance is going to go up. You got to pay rents on the 1st of the month. And if you expand too greatly, what you find is now even though when you just had the one side of the two, you were financially stable. Now you have all these financial stressors. And then you're going to start looking at cutting things in the business to cover expenses. Then you're jeopardizing the product or the service that you're providing, and it can be a snowballing effect. So just like when you created your first business plan, and I said you'll have to revisit it over and over and over. When you get ready to expand or when you get ready to grow, you either need to create a plan from this point forward or use your existing plan and make sure that it fits what's going on with the company at this point.
You're really talking about scaling and how businesses should scale. I know I never understood when people would say they were on Oprah and all of a sudden, once they got on Oprah, they couldn't handle the business because they had so much.
Right.
And that it was a blessing to be on Oprah show, but it was also a curse because they didn't plan for that type of growth. And that's what you're talking about is planning for growth. So when you talk about scaling your business, what are some of the specific steps people can take in terms, you talked about it at a macro level, but what are some specific steps businesses need to take in order to manage their growth and to scale up effectively?
All right. Well, the first thing is, in order to grow, you're going to, it's America's capitalism. You're going to need money. So just like when you're first starting your business, you have to create your business plan. You have to look at, all right, my goal is to go from where I am now to this point here. I'm going to need more employees. I'm going to need a larger facility. I'm going to need more manufacturing, whatever those needs are. Like I said at the beginning, whatever you come up with, there are going to be things that someone's going to show up and do an inspection and tell you need to have this. And you go, oh, I didn't know I had to have that. So there are going to be additional expenses. So you want to make sure that, just like at the beginning, that you have the right amount of capital for the type of growth that you're expecting. The second thing is you have to make sure that you meet your customers' expectations. That a lot of times and Oprah Winfrey is, she's a giant. Most people aren't going to get that kind of explosion. But if you do have that kind of explosion and all of a sudden everybody wants your product, you don't want to be able to be running out of product or telling them, I can't service you. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to come back to you. Even though you were on Oprah, you had that one chance to make an impression. They trying you because you was on Oprah. They're trying you because a friend came to you and they told them you was good at what you did. They're trying you because you've gotten good reviews. Now that you've gotten that, you can't disappoint them because they don't know you, so they're not going to try you again. So you got to meet them, where they are. Which means, like for me, for instance, at McDonald's, we're going to have a promotion coming up. So we're inviting extra customers to come into our store to try a new product. I need to make sure, one, I have enough crew people to satisfy the needs of these customers coming in. Because if they're coming in waiting a long time, they might not even get there. Or if they're getting a poor experience because I'm short-staffed and my people are anxious and tired, they're not going to get a good experience. So I'm already knowing I'm going to have to pay for more crew people than I actually need in order to hopefully drive the customers to the level to meet the staff I have on hand. Then with the new product, I have to make sure that when they get this new product, that it's a quality product. Now, I don't make the product, but I have to make sure that they're getting a high product, that they're getting a fresh product, that it's assembled correctly. Like all of those things so I have to do the training on the front end. I have to, let my crew people taste it so they can tell those customers, oh, it's spicy chicken, whatever. So there are a lot of steps, and for each industry and thing is going to be different. but you do have to make sure that you plan on the front end, whatever your projections are or whatever the goal is that you're trying to meet, that you bring in enough capital for that, that you have, if you're doing the book club on Oprah, that you have the logistics to get your product to the market, to these people, that you can service, the people that you're hoping that are showing up at the doors. But anytime that you fail to meet their expectations, you're not going to get a return on that. So the two things that I would really, really focus on is don't let the market pull you. Like you start feeling like, oh, I can go from 1 store to 10 store because we're so busy. Sometimes it's better to be busy in that 1 store, even if you have to turn away a couple of customers, because you're doing such a fantastic job, than to expand to 10 stores and do a half-ass job. Excuse my language, but and so you have to be realistic. Like, do I have the infrastructure that can support 10 stores? Because you're not going to be able to manage 10 stores the way you were managing 1 store. Do I have the capital so that at the first of the month, I'm not worried about making payroll, paying to have my inventory brought in, paying the bank, paying rent, paying utilities? Your expenses are going to be more than tenfold because you're also going to be bringing in layers of management to, support. So there are a lot of things, and that's why you really have to plan for this growth. If you just let growth happen, it'll be haphazard, and you will no longer be in control of your business. You will no longer be in control of the direction of your business. You'll be constantly playing catch up.
Great advice. Last piece of advice. Do you have any advice for business owners of color specifically on any piece of advice for us as people of color in terms of being business owners?
I will get to that, but let me flip it around as consumers of color.
Okay.
When we go to Black businesses, because I get it all the time, and I have friends that are entrepreneurs that get it all the time, don't ask for discounts. Don't say that this product isn't worth it. If you were to go online, you didn't know it was a Black business, you saw that product, and you saw the price, you would just pay the price. I make a point, even when I go to people and they're like, oh, I'm going to get, I'm like, no. Charge me the full price. Now, I'm blessed enough in most cases to pay it. But if I can't pay the full price, I don't want the hookup. I don't want to devalue your product. I don't want you to have to do more work for less money. Like, we have to be the ones to support ourselves in order to make these businesses profitable. Going in the door saying, oh, this is why I don't go to Black businesses, because they don't read professional. If you go to small businesses of any color that are starting off, they're not going to be that professional because they're learning how to be professional. Yes, if you go to Macy's or Cadillac, yes, they're professional. They've been doing this 100 years. But when you go to small businesses that are starting off, regardless, they're not professional. So stop holding us to a higher standard. Now, from the other side, try to be professional. You've been a customer. When you go places, you have an expectation as a customer. Once you're the entrepreneur, once you're the business person, you have the responsibility to provide and meet those expectations. So it's everything I said from the customer side is true, but from the owner side, you have to live up to that. One of the things that I always talk about with my managers and stuff is when you're in a franchise, the reason that you do a franchise and it says McDonald's instead of Kent's Restaurant is because McDonald's has a brand. Mm-hmm. McDonald's, whether you like McDonald's or not, pure health, whatever, but they have a brand and people know what McDonald's is. And when they go to McDonald's in California or Memphis or New York, they're expecting the same experience. And it is incumbent on us to give them that experience. So whatever the promises that you're making to your customer base, whatever your core principles are, you need to make sure that you're meeting those expectations for those customers because you're inviting them into your place.
Great advice. Great advice. Well, you've had some great advice for business owners in this little brief moment that we've spoken. Do you have any closing words you want to share in terms of helping business owners to be successful business owners?
Not so much, because every industry is a little different, but I will say this. I have surrounded myself with a really great core group of friends. And the people that you surround yourself, just in general, will either build you up or they will hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
And you really need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself, because when you're an entrepreneur, a lot of times you have to be selfish with your time, with your money, with hanging out. And you have to have friends that are going to support you no matter what. You have to have friends who, hey man, I don't eat meat, but I'll tell everybody, that you have to have friends that support you no matter what. And because when you're not at work, with the little downtime that you have when you're trying to build up, you need people that feed you and not drain from you.
Yes. That's great advice.
And that's more life advice than business advice.
Yeah. But business is life and life is business. So that's great, great advice. And especially coming from you, being a successful business owner, having almost 11 McDonald's, and I don't know how many Baskin-Robbins you had.
I did that first. I had 3 units, and then I realized that I can make more money with 1 McDonald's than 3 Baskin-Robbins.
Okay. And then I know you also, some of those were in the airport, weren't they? Some of your friends.
Yeah. But yeah, that was back around 9/11.
But the point is that you got in the airport, and we know that that's very difficult for many to do. Is to get into the airports in their cities. But it's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and I really appreciate you coming and giving this advice to my audience. And let
me just also say this: if someone does reach out to you and says, "Hey, I do have an idea, I do have questions," reach out to me. What is the point of me having these experiences if I don't share them and help other people out? So if someone does reach out to you through your podcast or through whatever venue, please feel free to reach out to me. And
sounds great. Sounds great. So if anybody wants to talk, have more specific questions for Kent, you can email me at contact@ramonahouston.com. Contact@ramonahouston.com, and I will forward your information to Kent. And Kent would be happy and pleased to assist you in providing advice in any way that he can. Kent, do you want anybody to follow you on social media or anything you doing?
No, I don't. Okay. No, I don't do any of that.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay, well, great having you, Kent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Hi, I have my friend Kit Jones with me today. It's June 7th.
Good morning.
2020, and we are providing strategies for college success. You can come to this site and listen to all my friends across the country about advice for college success. And Kent and I have been friends since college, and he went to the incredible Morehouse College across the street from Clark Atlanta University, and he's a Morehouse man and a successful business owner. And he excelled in college because he actually became a Morehouse man. So, Kent, could you give us one piece of advice for college students that you would have?
The piece of advice that I would give you is don't limit yourself in college. Indulge in as many different experiences as you can. There are going to be groups there. There are going to be people that you're going to meet that are going to be different from you. Don't wall yourself off from the experience. If you don't like the experience, be like, hey, I did that, tried that. I'm not going to do that again. But don't tie yourself down to the things that are comfortable. Be a little bit uncomfortable so you can grow. That would be my piece of advice.
Thank you so much, Ken. Get out of your comfort zone and explore the world of college.
Yeah.
And meet different people, get in different organizations.
All of that. If you're a planet pot, you can only grow as big as your pot will let you. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out and see what there is to explore. That's the only way you'll grow as a person. If you don't eat sushi, try sushi, whatever it is. I even one time had a friend drag me to a vegan restaurant. It was god awful. However, I would have never known that had I not gone. Now I have a funny story to tell all my friends. And yes, you know who that person was.
Great advice. Vegetarianism for the meat eaters. So thank you. So explore college, enjoy college, and just be a part of all that it has to offer. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it.
And travel as much as possible. Take every road trip. You'll have a test. You'll have another test. Don't worry about that test. Go on a road trip. You'll thank me for it later.
Thanks, Ken.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
A special thank you to the incredible team of the Empowerment Zone. Terry Gully, theme song, NADWorks, digital support, and of course, our featured guest.